Low-key, Peppermint Butler is one of the coolest characters in Adventure Time. He's made of candy and he's a grade A necromancer? I want to hang out with that guy. His complete storyline is sprinkled throughout the series, and although he didn't get nearly as much screen time as some of our other favorite characters, Adventure Time Distant Lands' next episode, Wizard City, is all about Pepp Butt. I'm Whitney Van Laningham, and this is everything you need to know about Peppermint Butler before you watch Wizard City. Before we get started, I want to give a shout out to our super nerd sponsor of the day, Dev and Elliot, for supporting us on Patreon. Alright, here's what we know about Wizard City. After getting got by Gumbald's Dum Dum Juice in the series finale, we saw baby Peppermint Butler reteaching himself dark magic. This next installment in Distant Lands will focus on his adventures at Wizard School. But let's rewind. Peppermint Butler was featured in the background of several Season 1 AT episodes, but we didn't really get to the good stuff until Season 2. The first time we really get to know Pepp Butt is when he helps Finn and Jake travel to the land of the dead to get the soul of Princess Bubblegum's special princess plant back. You can trust these dudes to slay a monster, but you cannot let them plant sit for you, man. They're so worried about PB getting mad at them for letting her plant die that Peppermint Butler offers to help them. He says he'll open a portal to the land of the dead for them, but that there would be a price to pay when they return. He warns them not to drink the water and tells them to tell Death that he said hi. Luckily, that salutation from Peppermint Butler was enough to save them from Death himself. As soon as Finn name-drops Pepp Butt, Death instantly restores Jake's memory and agrees to give them the plant's soul back. When they return, Peppermint Butler tells them that the cost of his gratitude is their flesh. And when they ask if he's kidding, he says he's gonna steal their skin while they sleep. Yikes. Thankfully, he never does it, but I don't know. Death's best friend probably likes the taste of people pieces. Through his studies in dark magic, it seems that Peppermint Butler developed the ability to sniff out dark forces that threaten the lives of his friends. When Princess Bubblegum is possessed by the Lich, he immediately realizes that something is wrong, reacting like a frightened cat in her presence. Would have been chill if he was like, hey Finn, there's a literal manifestation of inevitable death living inside the girl you're crushing on, but whatevs. But Peppermint Butler is actually extremely loyal to PB, as seen in the episode where Lemongrab tries to take over the Candy Kingdom after Princess Bubblegum's age regression. He douses Lemongrab's food with spicy spice, proving that he's kinda down to hurt others at the princess's request. A few seasons later, he leaves the Candy Kingdom at her side when the King of Ooh steals her throne. Peppermint Butler also encourages Peebs to connect more to her elemental side and learn to harness the power of her jelly beans. For those who don't know, Candy is one of the major elemental forces in the world of Ooh, and Peebs is the living avatar of Candy. Adding to his royal resume, in later episodes we learn that Peppermint Butler was the king of the Nightosphere's golf caddy. Turns out that Death isn't the only dark, powerful entity he's friends with. He's also homies with Hunts and Aberdeen. Another of Pepp Butt's abilities is shown when Finn gets trapped in a dream about the King Worm. Somehow, Peppermint Butler finds a way into Finn's subconscious to tell him that he needs to break the worm if he wants to wake up. As I mentioned in my video about Jake the Dog's family tree, Jake and Jermaine seem to be the only other characters who can enter another's dreams and communicate with them. I always assumed that Jake and Jermaine's connection was because they were fraternal twins. Although Jermaine was carried in Margaret's womb and Jake was spawned from a bite on Joshua's noggin, they were born at roughly the same time. But Peppermint Butler doesn't have a twin as far as I know, so it's clear that his powers come from dark sources. The next time we catch up properly with Peppermint Butler is a season later. Because he's been practicing demon summoning spells in his magic cave, Princess Bubblegum has been locked in her lab for 9 weeks with no one to encourage her to take a breather. Pepp Butt has summoned the shadow demon Ogadad, and is keeping him encased in Cinnamon Bun's body while he practices dark magic. But when it turns out that PB is in need of a suitor, he asks Ogadad to bewitch Brocco, one of her potential dates, in order to turn him into a love magnet. Apparently, he becomes so ensorcelled by Brocco that he tells him that he wants to have his babies, and gets really mad at Bubblegum when she lets him leave with a duplicate of herself. Omi really wanted a bite of that Brocco pie. Although Princess Bubblegum seems oblivious to the fact that one of her closest allies is a dark sorcerer, Peacemaster knows what he's really about. Peacemaster is a mage dead set on vanquishing evil, so he convinces a secret society of candy people called the Veritas Brigade to help him find the Dark One and eliminate him. He attacks Peppermint Butler, and although our little minty fresh friend fights hard, he gets thrown into Peacemaster's hat, which promises to devour his flesh and then yeet him into a void. Luckily, Kenneth uses his Dimension Disruptor device so that Pepp Butt can get away. Peacemaster challenges his nemesis to a wizard battle, but although he shows up ready to win, Peppermint Butler goes way more hardcore than he could have prepared for. Pepp Butt kidnaps Peacemaster's kids, and vows to turn them into monsters one by one unless Peacemaster agrees to leave them alone. He manages to turn 2 of the kids into freaky beasts before Peacemaster finally gives up. But here's that dark side again. Peppermint Butler decides to keep going with his torment and forces Peacemaster to humiliate himself in front of his children. He realizes that he took it too far after forcing him to eat dirt, but still doesn't change the kids back into humans. Damn, dude, Pepp Butt is ice cold. When he's not studying the dark arts, Peppermint Butler is also an expert vampire scholar. He even has a full kit ready to go if he ever needs to hunt one down, or if Marceline ever falls to the dark side. This little dude knows everything there is to know about vamps. So when Marceline is faced with the challenge of taking out the last of the vampires in Ooh, he's ready to help. He warns Marcy and Co. that the Hierophant follows old-school vampire rules, and that he won't enter a house unless he's invited. He also comes in handy when Marceline is poisoned by the Hierophant's scorpion stinger. Very casually, Peppermint Butler informs the gang that he's been poisoning himself for years to gain immunity to it, and that he has a full poison lab back at the castle. Using crystal magic, he begins Marcy's healing process so that she can kill the moon and get her powers back. With Marceline back in fighting shape, Peppermint Butler grows more excited at the possibility of meeting the Vampire King when they capture him. When the Vampire King does arrive, he's too starstruck to ask for his autograph. Luckily, the Vampire King generously gives Pepp Butt a psychic autograph before he's turned into a regular lion. Unfortunately, when the blast from Princess Bubblegum's vampire essence draining machine goes off, it temporarily blinds Peppermint Butler. Tasked with safely transporting the bucket of vampire essence to the deep catacombs, he accidentally drops the bucket because he can't see where he's going. Pure vampire essence escapes and explodes the cabin, shattering Pepp Butt into pieces. Don't worry though, nothing Peebles can't fix. In the final season of Adventure Time, Peppermint Butler is in charge of forging Finn a new sword, dubbed the Night Sword. He summons the King of the Nightosphere to infuse it with his magic. But Pepp Butt has some strong magic of his own. Although he agrees to let Hunson visit Marceline, he insists on shackling his hands with invisible, unbreakable cuffs so that he can't suck on any souls. You have to be one powerful piece of candy to be able to bind the literal King of the Nightosphere. Sadly, in the series finale, Peppermint Butler falls victim to Gumbald's dum-dum juice when Finn and Jake accidentally bring some back to the Candy Kingdom after their attempt at getting Peeb's uncle to call a truce. Pepp Butt is the first to go down, reverting into an adorable tiny candy baby. His baby form is butt naked, a far cry from his usually dapper Butler duds. But before you freak out, remember, he's seen again in the montage at the end of Come Along With Me, still living with Marcy and Peebles and studying up on Dark Magic 101. My guess is that the reason we didn't see Peppermint Butler in Obsidian is because he's already at wizard school. This is an amazing feat, considering that Uncle Gumbald was stuck as a simple-minded punch bowl for years after dousing himself with dum-dum juice accidentally during a fight with Bubblegum. It must take a really powerful dark sorcerer to fight their way out of the dum-dum's effects and relearn all that magic. So I'm excited to see what Wizard City reveals about Pepp Butt's identity. Did Death or Hunson help him find a way to heal from the dum-dum juice? Or did he pull these powers from within himself? We'll have to wait for the next episode of Distant Lands to find out. But in the meantime, I want to know what you guys think in the comments. How do you think he gets to Wizard City? Will he ever rule over the dark arts again? Let me know down below, like and subscribe to Nerdwire, and stay tuned for more Adventure Time vids.